Okay, so, you know, let's get some free stuff. Cool. Extra bullet. But the problem was there's an achievement on this, and that's what really drives me nuts. So the problem is the achievement is survive 60 seconds. And I'm okay at bullet hell. You know, kind of when it comes to bullet hell being bullet hell. But for some reason, this was just driving me. I don't know. Like, it's not too bad for about the first 30 seconds or so, but I think at a certain point, it's like there's too much stuff going on. Like, I'm sure there's a strategy, I'm sure there's a basic, like, just have them aim in this direction, move around in this direction sort of thing. But there's a certain point where it's like, okay, I just kind of lose track of the bullets going around. But it's an achievement, right? So, you know, we gotta do it. Again, this is really good music, so it kind of kept me entertained. And for some reason, it feels so weird the bullets move so slowly. Like, you'd think that would be something that would help, but the problem is it doesn't. My thought is, can I move over into, you know, into the other zone made by Rise himself and kind of mess around there. It's kind of interesting the bullets keep going even after you fail. You could just get shot before the thing even starts. I'm kind of tempted to see what would happen if you did that. And you can't really sit still because the bullet just kind of rocks back and forth just like that. The bullet lags a little bit behind the cursor, so you can't be... It's not exact. I swear that this would be such a major pain in, on a controller. I can't imagine this on a controller. Because I don't think you have such fine control, you know? I was like, no, I think we're done. For some reason, I thought there was another... Like, you know, here's Shine saying we're done. I thought there was another, another mini game. So I'm sitting here going, because I think I read something that said it was like a basket mini game or something. So, you know, I was thinking, okay, we got another mini game to do. So I was searching around for it. And I will say that mini games, they were really good in the, like, all of them rely on stuff that you're doing anyways. Like, it's not something new. It's not just... like fishing in Legend of Zelda, you know? Just a random thing that really has nothing to do with the basic mechanics of the game. It's just something additional. These are things you do anyway. Bullet dodging, we did that throughout the normal minigame. You know, shooting grenades, we did that in the normal minigame. So a lot of these things were things that we did normally. Don't ask me why I thought to do this. I don't know why I even thought to do this. But these are things we did anyways, so... I think that made those mini-games a lot more positive than they would have been otherwise. So get more story. And kind of like big hints. Hey, big shit's coming. It's good stuff, though. I think the only thing that really upsets me about the game is the load times. Sometimes they're very long. Okay. And then for some reason she drops down. We don't know why, it's just all of a sudden she's here with us. And the reason why? Heart. She loves us. That's why. And, you know, the game told me this would be kind of the last stand. I really didn't... Like, I believed it just because I'd seen the level selection saying that we were down to the last couple of levels. But I really didn't believe it. I thought maybe shoot a bunch of Cuckoos and have a Cuckoo raid, but it didn't quite happen. That clock's kind of interesting. But there is this big fight coming, and the game just lets you kind of slowly build up on it. And I swear, this fight drove me. Just because you have to really know... you have to really know what the weakness of everything is. And I wasn't quite getting it. You know, on these things, it's electricity, and on these things, it's bullets, and on this guy, it's a grenade. I was having such trouble with the grenade there, too. And I had a few moments where I was having trouble just, like, fumbling over the controls. You know, switch from bullet to bullet, you know, type to type. Right, on this guy you have to use bullets. Some of these enemies, I didn't even realize... Like, I kind of subconsciously noticed they were there, but I wasn't really paying attention that that exact enemy was just kind of sitting here. Then you have this one enemy who it's like, okay, well, you know, he requires this type, but this guy requires this type, and you're just constantly cycling through bullet types. This annoyed the hell out of me. So I'm like, I'm safe, I'm safe, I'm safe. Nope, barely touches me and I'm dead. And the game doesn't stop its references. You got the Mario hills in the background. We had the Zelda cuckoos. Like, we still have references even leading into the end. And I accidentally killed the armored guy right there. I didn't even... It wasn't even something I was consciously aware of. The whole exploding barrel. It took me a couple tries to really get that. For some reason, it never really occurred to me that the radioactive goop there. It wasn't something I was even thinking about. Okay, so, you know, move a little bit, be safe, get back into cover. But I'm stuck outside of cover, so let's just die. Yeah. And I started realizing about that barrel right about now. That it was there, this is what it was doing. Maybe I shouldn't shoot it. I don't think we ever had a piece of cover actually break on us, which was kind of a thing, because, you know, the cover is always there, it's always taking hits, but I don't think it ever broke on us. Just get ready for our shot. And now I was thinking, okay, let's be kind of more, let's restrict our shots a little bit more. And then I start hosing things. Like, it's... Marksmanship's good and all, but, you know, we gotta make this right. And you'd think that you would do this so many times and you'd get it, but there was just some times during this combat that it was like, I just didn't think about it. Just having to switch back and forth through weaponry as fast as possible. I like this new enemy type, at the same time I don't. And this drove me, right here. Just a freaking radioactive shot. Because if the radioactive shot sits where your cover is, you're boned. You're absolutely boned. Such a pain in the butt. Lots of incoming shots. And a perfectly aimed grenade, if I do say so myself. I love the sound effect of those grenades. Never figured out what those fallen guys actually did. Like, it just never happened. I never figured out what they did. Because I never let them hit the ground. I did not want to figure out. Didn't want to figure it out. Quick, shoot the incoming goop! Oh god, we're in the goop. So now, you know, I can't stand in my cover because the goop's there. Need to get my health back at this point. Okay, incoming wheel, but we know how to deal with this. Let's just not die to the wheel. The shield guy was a good touch. I think if you have to introduce a new enemy near the very end, this was an interesting enemy to have to deal with. It didn't change too much on us, you know? It was kind of very similar to previous stuff we had seen. And these guys, oh my god. If there's any one enemy I'd never want to see again, it's going to be those guys. Never let these guys touch the ground. And then the fight's over. Nothing to do with the girl. Like, she just exists. And so we just kind of move on. I was expecting fights and throws and stuff like that. I was looking at the background here. But I was expecting stuff any second now. Any second. And here it is. Immediately start shooting, because, you know, you got a boss. You immediately start shooting at it. And I was expecting dialogue boxes, but it has to zoom in and do that epic high. And I like they didn't do the thing where Rise is able to hear his dad talk in this scene right here. Because he's inside of this gigantic machine. I think part of what really helped me in this fight is just being able to shoot so fast. Just the ability to just click as fast as I could, and the fact that the game shoots as fast as you click. What do I do? I don't understand. Do I have to ricochet shots? Do I have to... What do I do? I don't know. I don't get it. Oh, wait. I was thinking about bouncing a grenade in there, and then I realized, oh, right. This is a thing I can do. It took me a second. It really did. I even tried to go under. You know? Like, and it's like, oh, wait, I understand this. We did this joke earlier. I mean, it's an interesting way to design the boss. And I like there wasn't a time limit to that. Like, some of the bosses, they have, you know, in some games, they have a time limit when you have a mechanic like that. Also, that attack came out of nowhere. I didn't even understand what was going on. Some bosses have time limits when it comes to, you know, shoot them during their weak spot. And so you, as a player, if you don't know what's going on, if you don't understand the concept, you just get screwed. You know, you lose your shot, and then you have to do an entire other thing where you try to deal with it again. I thought it actually started me in Phase 2 here, but it didn't. It started me still in Phase 3, but these attacks are interchangeable. It's not a pattern boss. It's a, you know, there are certain attacks you can redo. It just has different attacks. I mean, there are patterns, naturally, but... We never saw the missiles again, and I was so glad we didn't see the missiles again. Because that just stops me from attacking the boss. This, I can attack the boss while I'm, you know, dodging the fists. I liked the fist attacks. It stopped him from doing anything else while I was just hosing at him. And the way they made each phase harder was, it just felt really good in this boss. You know, multiple, like, same attacks, it introduced anything new, but the attacks were a little bit harder to deal with. Didn't quite get the shot right. Still not sure how I feel about this grenade style, the whole, like, charging it up thing. It wasn't bad, it was just, you know, not quite what I was expecting. So just being able to hose this boss down, you know, just kind of like, no, screw you. Thud, thud, thud. This attack scared me a little bit, I'll admit. I'm like, what, am I supposed to jump over that? What am I supposed to do? And then I realized, ah, right. I've dealt with this before. I know what I'm doing. I was really worried about that last spot right there. I was curious if I should use, like, a regular nade for this. Especially when the first one didn't do it. I'm like, regular nade? No, but I already had another nade going. And there he is. And then now we actually have the confrontation. Because, you know, Rise didn't know ahead of time. He just thought it was an enemy. Just something he had to deal with. Very, very different way to set that up. This is very cool. I will admit, I'm not 100% sure how I feel about this story. Kind of the way they're setting this up right here. I mean, it's interesting, but I was kind of expecting a, you know, maybe a betrayal story, a brainwash story, something like that. And the way they set up this story was very, very different. It didn't really feel as if there was a lot of motivation. I think that was probably part of the problem. Is I didn't feel there was enough motivation to kind of explain why are we doing this way. Good thing is we get to have some time for Rise to kind of be the hero he needs to be. And I liked this. This felt good. This concept. Like, it actually... If you have an invincible hero who cannot be killed, what do? You bind him. And I liked that. It actually felt smart. And actually, it felt like such a smart idea that as a player, I was curious, where are we going to go? Like, how are we going to solve this? And then the game just sits you here. It doesn't give you anything to go with. It doesn't give you anything to do. And I started hitting buttons. All of a sudden, I noticed that I can shoot. It's like, okay, what do I do? What do I do? I can't move Rise. So I'm like, I was trying to switch. I was trying to swap weapons. I was trying to swap type of guns. Was trying to change the grenades. Pressing buttons everywhere. And then I eventually saw, oh, wait. And then I did that. And nothing happens. And I'm like, oh, did I fail? And it respawns you right here, and I went, I failed. And then it's like, no, that's correct. It was a really cool fake out. So my first thought was, okay, maybe the story continues from here. What happened to the girl? Do I need to go check on her? Is she okay? So we run all the way to the back, and the girl's not here. And so now I'm wondering, like, is there more to the story that I didn't see? Are there more chapters that I wasn't expecting? You know, what really happens here? Did she get kidnapped? Because we don't know where the story's going from here, right? Like, we have the major betrayal that just happened. What the hell is this? Oh, that's it. I literally didn't know what those were. I thought they were guardians I had to speak to. And in we go. Now we have our actual spot for the gun. Even the gun appears to be happy to see the girl. The gun even looks nervous for a second there. And I really liked this reveal and this description on what it was. You know, physics hadn't invented yet, so we can't break this. And I thought that was an amazing idea. More references. The game runs on Unity, so purity makes sense. I like how the music matches the dialogue. And somehow the gun breaks. Like, what the hell? Oh, Dad's still alive. You gotta... What type of dad could shoot his kid, you know? Oh, the kid's pissed. Oh, Rise is upset. Now, this was a sudden thing. I kind of understood what I was seeing, but I didn't really think on it too much. And there was a weird issue with the controls that I couldn't get the, checkmark to stay on the collectible. I had to mess with it a couple of times. The pointer, the you know, indicator also didn't move exactly the way I wanted it to. Like, it was kind of weird, kind of lagged a little behind where I wanted it to go. Tried to interact with everything. See if there's anything else. Because what the game wants you to do is obvious, right? Like, there's only one thing we can be doing here. But I was like, okay, let's mess with some stuff. And apparently, somehow, I accidentally clicked it. And there we go. And all the enemies disappear. And Rise looks upset. He actually looks upset. I love that he does not look happy about this. This is a Pyrrhic victory. Rise lost his dad. We don't know where his mom is. Shine is destroyed. And the girl realizes. And this is the point where I realized too, and I went, no. I love that smile. Though I did ask, you know, what happens to the girl's love after that? Does she no longer love him? He took her love away. So very, very cool game, Rise and Shine. I really liked it. I really wish there was more. And I mean, I think that's probably the best thing to say about a game. You know, it lasted just a couple hours. But I think that's the best thing I can say about a game like this is, man, I wish I had seen more. You know? Music's really good. This is a soundtrack I wouldn't mind having. We were trying to decide, you know, what their, what the rest of the end game might look like for us. You know, what else they can do. Because, you know, the comment was made, and it's fairly legit, is that the game is, you know, it's got really good production values, but it's also fairly short. And I think one of the good things is the game never had time to wear out its welcome. It kept introducing new concepts, new mechanics, kind of new stuff the entire time. So there was always something new to mess with and play with. The graphics never really got stale. It kind of introduced new enemies on a fairly regular basis and introduced new ways to interact with old enemies. So it ended up doing a very good job of just showing us all kinds of neat stuff. I kind of have to hope there's going to be a sequel at some point. So I was curious, and I went and looked, because there's still some achievements to do. There's something called Iron Man mode. We also wanted to look to see what other stuff there would be. Was there... I actually did not intend to click that button, so we got into the load screen on accident. There are some other achievements, some interesting ones. Things like beat the first boss without taking any damage. There's something called Iron Man mode I didn't mess with. I'm assuming if you get killed, you have to restart from the beginning of the level. Didn't mess that much. And then what I found out is that, especially when we go look at it again in a second, there's a lot of collectibles that I didn't touch. Like, I didn't realize they were there. I was kind of expecting one collectible per level, especially when that's really all I saw. I don't think I ever saw 2 collectibles in one level. But after the fact, especially when I went into Scene Select, it turns out, you know, there were up to 3 in some of these levels. So I have to somehow go find those. So the other thing we were curious about, especially at this point, was just, was there an alternate ending? Because I guess that was kind of the question. Is there something else we could have done? Were there any other checkboxes? Were there any other options? You know, games like this like to have this alternate ending, so I went in and I started just messing with things. You know, clicking and checking and just kind of messing with everything. I had to really mess with it because I just couldn't get the checkboxes to work. I couldn't figure out, particles didn't seem to do anything, so I was messing with it. The idea was just turn everything off, and at this point I was like, okay, if I turn everything off, does that change something? Does the entire world disappear? I wanted to see what particle effects did. But then at the end of the day, the answer was, you know, no. The storyline doesn't change. Nothing changes. I still love that smile. It's also interesting that Rise would go with the extra life for Shine as opposed to his dad, you know. That kind of interests me. You can't actually skip the credits. Can't speed them up. No, the credits are, you know, 45 seconds long, so it's not a big deal. But that was kind of, it was kind of interesting. This game has a lot of polish, and that felt like something that was just kind of weird to not have. So that was Rise and Shine. There are a bunch of achievements still left to be had in the game. I've got to find all of the collectibles. I need to go, beat the game on Iron Man mode, which is kind of a deal. There are kind of a lot of things I still have to do, but I don't know if I'm actually going to get around to doing those, I'll be honest with you. The game's really good, but it feels like one of those things that I probably got all I could out of this game. As I said, I love it, and I think that, I want more. I would love to see a Rise and Shine 2 in the future. I would absolutely buy it as soon as it came out. But at the same time... Yeah, I was trying to click it off, see if there's any other options. At the same time, I don't think there's a lot of replayability for me personally in Rise and Shine 1. And that's not a bad thing about the game. It's just one of those... It feels like I got everything I could have gotten out of it, which is probably a good thing. We'll see, though. Things can happen in the future. There is Iron Man mode, so there's that, and there are those achievements. With that, guys, I'll see everybody later.